Welcome back to another podcast. Set next to me today, we have Loghan the Hitman Lewis. Loghan, what is the message?
Nothing in particular. It's another beautiful day in England. Happy to be here. I'm excited to go.
Good to finally have you on. So I stumbled across you. Obviously, you came over here from Australia. You were at Canberra, where I played a bit of under-20. So there's a couple of mutual friends, but I actually stumbled across you because of your social media content. You do a bit of live streaming, you do a bit of gameplay, you do a bit of just day in the life and like a bit of everything really. So that's how I sort of stumbled across you originally. Tell us a little bit about that and how your social media presence, I suppose, has been an impact on you as a player.
Yeah, so I started back in Canberra. Obviously, I just started streaming. I was playing games most days. So I was like, I might as well stream them, see if I can go anywhere with it. And then I came here. Obviously, at Canberra, I wasn't a big name or anything. And then I signed with Salford, and then I sort of had a bit of more of a following of Salford fans and Super League fans. So I sort of transitioned into more of a IRL sort of focus around rugby league sort of content. So now I do obviously vlogs, day in the lives, some streams where I just chill and watch obviously games from the weekend and talk to rival fans and our sort of fans. So and then just sort of promote behind the scenes of Super League out to the followers of Super League, because I feel like that's a big area that doesn't have as much coverage as it should. So yeah, I've been working on that lately.
Yeah, for sure. I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's a little bit uncovered, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's not something that's big on social media. So you're over here now in the UK in the finest of weather, doing a bit of streaming, doing a bit of content. Take us back. Loghan Lewis growing up over in Australia. Where are you from? And for the people who don't actually know you, like how on earth did you get here sat next to me? Because I think it's a bit crazy. We met each other in person about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's a bit wild. It's a bit of a wild story, but that's the beauty of this sport and the beauty of the game that we play.
Yep.
Is just that paths like ours can cross.
Oh, mate, rugby league.
Share the experience. But tell us a little bit about growing up in Oz and how you ended up over here.
I'm from a small town, but it's about an hour west of Brisbane and Gold Coast. Played my junior footy at Bedesert until I was about 11, and then I moved down to Nerang Roosters when I was 12. Played there for the rest of my junior years, so I'd drive an hour from home and back every day. Dad would drive me in the car. I'd get home from school. We'd drive down there and train and then play, obviously, and that was some of the best times of my life there. I wasn't too good at rugby league back then. I wasn't, even when I was young, probably to the age of 16. I didn't really enjoy league too much, to be honest. I know Suits has mentioned a story of me faking a few injuries when I was young to get out of playing.
Tell us that story. Suits told me about this, actually. Tell us that story.
So I was probably about 9 or 10 at the time. I was a kid that was real centered on just being at home and gaming and watching TV and stuff. I just hated league. I just hated getting up and going for it. It was more a nerve thing, I think. I'm pretty sure I was just really nervous before games. Like in my head, I was just like, I'll get the biggest nerves. I had that until I was probably like 17. I'd just get so nervous. But we're at this weekend tournament not far from my house playing for Bedesert. And I remember the first carry, I got the ball and like I got tackled and I just went, oh, my neck. And then it was just natural. Like I did get like a bit of a crusher, but it wasn't too bad. But I just was hoping they'd just take me off and send me home, get my Dagwood dog and Coke after the game and send me home. But because obviously I said neck, it was all red lights. So the coaches at the time went straight onto the phone and called the ambulance. So I'm laying there like, oh crap, like I've messed up here. I've taken it a bit too far. So I'm laying there probably waiting half an hour for the ambulance to come. The whole like tournament is like circled around this poor kid who's like just broken his neck, that they think, and then I'm laying there with the freaking all the blankets on me and stuff, like they're testing my feet and stuff, and I'm like, oh, the ambulance arrives and I'm like, oh, I've really messed up here. My mum's in like distraught. And then they did all the testing and that. I was like, yeah, I'm good. And then they're like, oh, you're sweet. And then I got up and then I sort of walked off the field. There was still like 100 people, like hundreds of people around me circling this kid. They've called the whole weekend tournament off. They're watching this poor kid, and then he just got up, sweet, and walked home into the car. And like at the time, I didn't realize it, but I knew my parents would have been so embarrassed, like that's their kid that's just done that. But yeah, then I went home and got my Dagwood dog, and that was it. That was me.
You were happy out then. Happy out. Just called the whole tournament off. You know what I mean? A few people's weekends ruined, and you're like, yeah, sound got me kind of coke. I'm all good.
That was
back
me
in front of the Xbox. So how does that kid end up becoming a professional rugby league player? Because you probably look at that. The parents alongside are probably thinking, Nah, there's no hope. There's no hope for this kid. Do you know what I mean? Like, which is probably what people shouldn't do. Like, parents shouldn't really be judging a kid by their 11-year-old ability or whether they're like not cut out for the game or not. But obviously, you're probably thinking, like, your parents are probably thinking, Jesus, what's going on here?
Yeah,
what's going on here?
When I was young, I was always a good tackler. I was, I don't know, I would always just like intent. I guess I'd just throw myself in there. So I always knew I was decent at tackling, but I just didn't have the physical gifts to keep up with, some of the boys that are massive when you're young. So I don't know. I started to put on a few like good shots and stuff when I was probably 15, 16, and thought like, oh, maybe I can actually like go alrighty. And then I realized like you could have that self-realization. I wasn't big enough to match it like physically with if I wanted to go further. So then I started to put the work in. I was running probably 1 or 2 Broncos a day with my dad, gymming every day, like literally, like I've got no physical gifts. Shout out mum and dad for that, but I had no physical gifts, nothing. But I always had that hard work mentality, and I sort of was gymming every day, running every day, put on a bit of size, and then it was probably under 18s Melbourne it's called. It's like the representative for Burleigh there. I had pre-season there, and then for me personally, I felt like I smashed the pre-season, and then I got cut after that pre-season. And that was probably the turning point, and like I want to prove like people wrong sort of thing. So I proper put my head down, just grinded, and then they ended up calling me back for the back end of the season. I think they had a few injuries, and then I played. I think it was their second last game. I played a Melbourne game, and that was my first rep game when I was 18. And then I had a few good shots in that game, and then my first run of the game, I tore up my meniscus. So I got up and then went to play the ball, and literally my knee wouldn't move. So that was my first like major injury too. I didn't know at the time like what was going on, like what's happened, why can't I move my knee. So I had a repair then. At the time I moved to Canberra Park as well for school, obviously a big league school. It's all centred around league. So that was when I was year 11. So that was 4 months off for the repair. Came back, obviously I put a bit of size on during that. Came back, first game back for school again, tore my knee up again. So that was another 4 months out with another repair, and then that took me to the end of year 11. Going into year 12, I was obviously still just putting the work in, and then we went. Like I had all pre-season. I trained for literally it was a long pre-season because of COVID, so we didn't know what the seasons were going to be. So I trained all through that. It was probably another 6 months of just training, and then it was a week before our first school game. Obviously, school footy was massive back home, being at Canberra and that, and then I was doing just a normal drill, and then I felt my knee sort of just like lock up, and I was like, nah, it can't be serious. So I trained throughout the week, and it kept locking up, and then in my head I was fully convinced that it was a mental thing. Like I was thinking that my knee was locking up because I'm like, there's no way it's just randomly like tore again. Yeah. So I was fully convinced it was a mental thing. So I played round 1 for school against Wavell. We got smacked. I think Princeton, Ezra, Big Caleb's little brother, put 3 trials on us. Shout out him. But I was running around that game. I literally couldn't turn off my leg, and then I was still at that point. I was like, it's not torn. Like it's just my head. I was about to go see like a therapist and that, like a sports therapist, just to like see what it was. And then it was the warm up the next week, and then it fully went again, like in the warm up, getting ready for that game. And I was just like, bro, like there's no way. So ended up having a trim, and that was me done. I only played 1 school game over 2 years. So I played 1 game over 2 years, and then I was like, no, like obviously that age is like a big chance to get contracts and whatnot. So I was like, there's no chance. I missed school that year, and then I came back for the last like 5 games of just local footy, just playing for Burleigh under 18s local footy. Lucky enough to get a few decent clips from that. So my knee was like sweet then. I had to trim, and then like the meniscus is gone now, so it wasn't giving me any issues. And then those clips got sent down to Pete Maholan. Obviously, Pete Maholan. So he took a chance on me, just got me down for a trial. And at that point, I was like smashing training as well. Like ended up running like the fastest Bronco in that group of like training trialists for SG by like a lot. Had good gym numbers, and then we had a SG trial game. And like me, I was at Burleigh, like still like doing nothing at that time. I came down for a week, played the trial, and then the first run of the trial, I tore my hamstring. So I was like, this can't be like. This
you like riddled with injuries in the early start of your career. Three meniscus.
Yeah, like, 3 meniscuses, yeah.
And then you go down to Canberra, you're on trial at SG Ball.
Yeah.
First run, tear your hamstring. What's going through your head?
Oh,
Are you thinking about quitting?
yeah, I'm done. Like at that point, I'm done. Like they called me, or they said to me like, "Oh, go back and rehab it," because I was still at Burley. They're like, "Go back and rehab it. We'll call you back in a couple of weeks." And then at the time, it'd been like 8 weeks. I was working at Woolworths, which is like the Tesco equivalent, just on the register in my local town. Sort of like it's a small town, so everyone knows who I am and stuff. Everyone knows each other. And they're all asking how the footy's going and that. It's been 8 weeks. Like I hadn't had a call from them since. I'm like, nah. Like I'll just tell them, oh yeah, it's going all right. But in my head, I'm like, nah, I'm done. Like I'm gonna have to sort something out. Like go to uni or something. Like I'm not playing again.
It's scary, that, isn't it?
Right.
It's a scary place to be in when you're trying to chase your dream and you feel like there's nothing there for you. You feel like all the doors are starting to shut in your face, and you're looking up to God, or you're looking up to the heavens and thinking, what on earth is going on? I feel I was in a similar spot. I feel like our journeys are very similar in the common themes of potentially not being the superstar coming through as a kid, building your game on sort of hard work and determination. And like I was in a similar spot to you. Like I was working in McDonald's at 17 years old, telling people I'm going to be a pro rugby player. I had no contract. I wasn't playing for anyone. I was nobody. And I was telling people in McDonald's, like I was literally working in McDonald's, like, and I was telling people I'm going to be a pro rugby player. And like, it's not right, but you can see why they were sort of looking at you a bit funny. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying people should judge you for that, but like, no one should stamp on someone's dreams. But like at the same time, like you sort of, people are sort of telling me to be real.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But in my head, like I just want to prove everyone wrong. So you're working in Woolworths. You're rehabbing your hamstring. You're on a mission to prove people wrong, and sometimes that is a thing where like you do want to prove people wrong. Like that can be one of the biggest driving factors, that you want to prove someone wrong. But what happens from there?
So it was a random Thursday night. I was still like unsure. It was that little period between finishing school and then obviously starting uni or going on to work full time. So in between there, so I was literally just working at Woolworths, just random shifts through the week, like earning nothing. And then I was playing on my PlayStation. It was about 9 p.m. or something. It was a Thursday night. My dad's come up to me and he said, like, the Raiders have just called. They want you down Sunday. And I was like, bro, what the hell? What is this? And then I didn't even like think about it. To be honest, I was just like, yeah, let's do it. Like, I'm not happy with what I'm doing right now. Like, let's take the leap. You know what I mean? Like, just take the leap of faith. Let's see what could happen. And then, I went down Sunday. I said goodbye to all my mates Saturday morning. I literally quit my job as I was driving down to Canberra. I told them, like, I can't come in today. I had a shift that day. I'm like, can't come in today. I'm going down to Canberra. But originally it was only for the SG season, and then I was going to come back home. So I went down there, and then my hemi, I was still rehabbing my hemi at the time. So I went down there, obviously moved in the big house, which you're familiar with, which...
My old house. So we actually lived in the same house, me and this man.
Yeah.
But so there's a big house in Canberra where they've sort of just put all the lads from all over the place.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Who have no family nearby and that. So after I lived with my teammate Mitch Suter, I got put in this big house, which was like, to me it was like paradise at the time. Do you know what I mean? I'm in the middle of summer in Canberra, and I was like in this big house full of lads having the crack. Do you know what I mean? Like I was like, this is class. But it becomes I feel like that would become old quick.
Oh, yeah.
So you get stuck in there.
Yeah. So I'm there with 8 other boys. Obviously, it's a big house, and then we got some carers upstairs that sort of cook you dinner and look after us. But yeah, it was me and 8 other boys, and then. As a young kid, it's probably the best thing for you, to be honest. Like, you get put with all these other boys from around Australia and New Zealand, and then you're forced to gel, really. Like, you're forced to become a set of brothers. And then I didn't play the first game. I was rehabbing my hemi, and then it was round 2, because the whole big story was why they needed me was because there was an incident that happened with a few of the boys after round 1. There was a big incident, and a few of the boys got sacked. So obviously they needed numbers, so they called me to come down and play for them. And then I ended up playing my first game, and then obviously my knee was sweet, all my injuries were sweet, and then I played pretty good that first game, and then played the rest of that year. I think it was 6 or 7 games. Then we made finals. It was top 6, and we just come in 6 from for and against. And at this point, like, we're versing like Junior Amon, Tyrell Sloan, like some stacked teams. Like, they got some stacked players, and then we versed Manly in the semi-finals. And I remember, like, we're a bunch of country, like, our team was a bunch of just country boys. Obviously, you're familiar with a fair few of the boys that was in that 20s and 19s group. But we ran out, and I remember running next to the Manly team running out. They got their big JBL blasting like the tunes, the Oz drill tunes, and I'm looking up like, holy, like this is their winger, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? And then we ran out. First tackle of the game, I went to chop like the winger. I grabbed one of his legs and I tried to lift one leg. I'm like, this is going to be a long game. This is going to be a long game. But we ended up, shout out Xavier Savage, I think we scored 18 points in like the first 5 minutes, and then we didn't score a point for the rest of the game, and we held on 16-18 to go to the SG Ball grand final at that point. And then the week later we played the grand final. Again, we're just a bunch of boys that have just been put together from all over the country, a bunch of country boys. And then we ended up winning the SG Ball grand final, I think 18-16 again, or 20-18 by 2 points. There was a game-saving tackle at the end to win us a comp, and then from there was sort of that was sort of the moment where I'm like, this is actually mad. Like, I love this sport. So that was probably the changing sport where I was playing all right too. I'm like, yeah, this is it. And
that's crazy to think, isn't it? That like you've got into an under-18s SG Ball grand final and won it, and only then you go, I actually like this.
Yeah.
You know, so up till then, do you feel like you were just playing on was it a fear and nerve factor, or was it I just want to prove people wrong, or was it a combination of both? What type of emotions were driving you to perform then, if it wasn't the love of the sport? Because there's always something a little that's going on in your head, you know, that sort of, was it I just want to prove to people who said to me I can't do this wrong? Or was it a fact that like you're running out over like you're crossing the whitewash and you're going, holy shit, like I'm not I'm in fear, but like I don't want to mess up here. You know, I'm so nervous that like that's making me that's giving me the energy to get going. Or was it a bit of both? Because like obviously that must have been the cog that got you really going on your career. But what was fueling you prior to that?
Both, to be honest. I always, until I was probably about 18, 19, I had like fear before games. I would literally think the worst. Like I would picture myself like getting injured in the most like horrific ways and stuff, just from like pure fear of like how big the boys were in front of me. And then it got to that age where I was like, nah, like I can do this. I can prove people wrong at that point. So it was definitely a bit of both. Obviously before the game I'd be shit scared, and then I'd get out there, do like a good tackle or a good run. I'm like, oh, I'm actually enjoying this. And then from then on it was it was pure enjoyment. That's why I love the sport now. I just love the contact.
And did the injuries play on your head that season? What were you thinking? What was going through your mind when you've been plagued with injuries as a young kid? Because like, you're still young. It's not like you're 25 or 26 going through like triple meniscus and the cami tears and things. Like you're a teenager. Are they plaguing you? Like are they wrecking your head thinking about them, or have you managed to pack that when you're going into the semi or you're going into the GF? Does part of you think, I wonder if my knee's going to hold up? Yeah,
I think they were always in the back of my head. Obviously, at that age, you don't really see too many sort of major injuries. So I was, all my mates were obviously, we'd joke about it and stuff, but like in the back of my head, it was always there. Like I wouldn't go off. It was obviously all on my right knee, so I wouldn't go off my right knee as much as my left. Like it came to the point where it was just a natural block, like a mental block sort of thing, just from just time and time after not being on it. So that definitely always plagued me in terms of going off it and that, and then having that confidence as well. Like obviously I didn't have too much confidence at that age because of the fear and because of the injuries and that. So I sort of just played my role. I literally just would get the ball, hit it up, tackle, just do my job sort of thing. And I had obviously Trey Mooney. It was me, Trey Mooney and Big Caleb that were the forward pack. So I had absolute twin towers next to me. So all my job was to just go clean up crew.
Tackles.
Yeah, just make my tackles. But shout out them boys. They probably gave me the confidence as well to where I'm at today.
Helps when you're playing with them two either side of you. You know what I mean? Massively. So then you kick on from that, winning that SG Ball final. What happens then?
So we had COVID. Obviously, we didn't have a 20s team that year at Canberra. So COVID sort of hit that back end of the year. We all got sent into lockdown. No one was playing. Obviously, we played a few local games after that because there was no 20s comp. We all trained with the 20s boys and stuff, and went out and played at our local clubs. Shout out Yas Magpies. Played a few. That was my first senior footy there. But after that, lockdown hit. We all got put into lockdown for months on end. I was obviously still in the house with all the boys, so I was in lockdown with 8 other boys. And at the start, it was pretty mad. Obviously, we were getting paid a bit per week off the government for not doing anything, and then we would stay up to like 3 a.m. We all had PlayStations in the downstairs bit, so there was 10 PlayStations going. We were all playing together. It was mad, like so good. But then it got to the point where like, we're probably getting a bit sick of each other. Like people weren't cleaning. There was fights, arguments. Like was getting to the point where we were like getting sick of each other. But yeah, that sort of period of time was I'd probably say that's the changing point in my career. That little lockdown period, because we weren't doing anything, so I was like, I might as well see how big I can get, how fit I can get. So I was obviously, we had that gym in the upstairs bit of the house, so I was up there every night for hours, just continuously pumping weights because I had nothing to worry about the next day. I'd go out and run at least 4Ks per day, or do like a con drill. So I was literally like the fittest and strongest. I think I put on, like, it would have been 6 kilos of muscle. Like, I needed the weight. Even now, I'm not the biggest forward, but like that was probably the changing point where I probably went from just being that plotter that would just make his tackles and do his job into being a bit of an impact, like someone that can make a bit of impact sort of thing. So yeah, I'd credit that to all the boys as well there. We'd always go in gym and run together. So we had a pretty strong training group there, but that was definitely the changing point in me just being an average player into someone that can actually do something.
For sure. And I think that everyone goes through that. Everyone goes through that period where they have an opportunity of whether they're dropped or they're injured, where they can actually like go into a little bit of a work phase, put the head down and grind, and having like an environment like that where you have lads who are holding you accountable to it. And they say iron sharpens iron, you know.
Yeah.
So when you have a bunch of lads who are all like you're mates, but you're still fighting for positions, and like nearly sometimes fighting each other. You know what I mean? Like you want to see who can lift the most, who can run the quickest. You know, so being in that environment in a contained space is absolutely savage, and that sort of brings you to where you are now. So you were playing cup for Canberra, and then how do you end up over here?
Yeah, so after that COVID period, I played 20s. That was my first bit of 20s football. I wasn't full time yet. I was still playing 20s, but that season I earned my cup debut. I think it was round 6 against the Blacktown Workers. I played with, obviously, I think Jared Croker was in that team. It was Ryan Sutton and a few of those boys, and it was only early into the 20 season, and that was probably my first eye opener. Like, holy do, I'm playing with some legends of the game here. Like, this is mental. I flew out the line, tried to hit George Tafua, which I know is a player in your team now, and he absolutely sat me. But at that point, I was just loving it. Like, I could do this 100 times. Like, this is the best. And that was my sort of first bit of footy, and then I had a really good year that year. I ended up getting some awards for under 20s, and then earned my first. It wasn't a full-time contract yet. It was a 16-week preseason, NRL preseason, and then went through that preseason, and then they decided to keep me on for training trial for the full year, and that was obviously my first full-time gig. And then looking back now, like, that kid that even a year ago was just a plotter that just didn't have the confidence in himself. Like, it was crazy to think of at the time. But yeah, that was sort of my first taste of the professional lifestyle, which is just, as you know, is just insane.
It's the best thing.
Yeah.
It's the best thing about this sport is being in that full-time environment and getting to spend time with the boys every day. But it's mad to think that within a year of that time, like, you became a confident person, because you're confident now.
Yeah.
You know, you're confident now when you put yourself out there, and that's the person you are now. But that clearly wasn't the person you were then.
Yeah.
Do you know? And I think the biggest takeaway, the biggest thing to echo for people who are listening, or people in general, is that it's built on hard work.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, there are some very, very gifted players, but your journey was built on graft, and built on determination, and built on those late nights and those hours in the gym, and building a foundation of yourself and coming through all those injuries. But it's all built on hard work, isn't it? And that's you as a player, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
That's you as a player. Yeah. So you're in this full-time environment, like you're living the dream as such.
Yeah.
You get called to come over here to the UK. Yeah. What are you thinking?
Oh, mate. So it was. So I wasn't happy. That was obviously last year. So I had that full time that year, and then I had another 16-week preseason. And then I sort of had a few 16-week deals here and there sorted, but I obviously stayed to choose with Canberra because I felt like I was comfortable with where I was. I felt like I had good opportunity to be kept on after that 16 weeks again. And then I felt like I had a really good preseason, and then I had the NRL trial as well, which I felt like I really went well in. And then so I was at an all-time sort of high, like then, and then I got told they weren't going to keep me on, sort of thing, at the start of last year. So then that probably goes from an all-time high to an all-time low. You know, you got to go back out into the real world. You think you're you've just played really well in NRL trial, and then you got to go back out and search for a real job, and it sort of hits you a bit. Like
it humbles you, doesn't it?
Yeah, big time.
It humbles you big time. And I was in the same boat, funnily enough, when in 2020 I was over in Canberra. So I was a young kid. I just saw my first team deal at Huddersfield, Super League deal, and then I got offered to go to Canberra.
Yeah.
Spend a year at under 20s in Canberra and then come back over, because I was still very raw. Like, I'd only been playing rugby league 2 years at this stage.
Right.
Like, I was raw. I was still like transitioning from rugby union. I just didn't know the game that well. So I get offered this opportunity to leave Huddersfield and go to Australia.
Yeah.
And I'm at Canberra, so I'm ecstatic.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this is the best ever. So I come back. I'm going to come back after a year at Canberra to another year Super League deal. I was like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, it's a win-win. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So I'm over there, and then I'm over there, and I get pulled into the office, and Pete basically says to me, "I'm going to upgrade your deal. Like, you're going to do a couple days a week, like front end of the week with NRL. You know, like their lighter days, and then you drop back into 20s." And I was like, "This is unbelievable."
Yeah.
Like, my life was up here.
Yeah.
I was peaking, and then 2 weeks later, like, get the knock on the door, and they're like, the comp had been cancelled, but up till this point, they were saying to me, "No, like, you're fine. Like, well, it's going to be fine. This lockdown, like Europe was in lockdown, like." Ireland, I think it started in Italy, then the UK, then Ireland all went into lockdown. Yeah. And like, my man's ringing me saying, like, what's going on here? Like, do you know, and like, everyone's saying to me it's grand.
Yeah.
You know, and it's fairly laid back in Australia.
Yeah,
so like, everyone at the club was like, don't be worrying, you're going to be grand. 2 weeks later, knock on the door, like, Brownie comes in and he's like, yeah, mate, like, you may want to look at getting a fly home.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I was like, what? Because like, the money from 20s comes down from the NRL. All the NRL are taking pay cuts. So they're like, you can stay, but I was on a sports visa, so I couldn't work.
Yeah.
So they were like, you can stay. Like, I was in the house, and they're like, we're not going to take a roof from under your head. We're not going to see you stuck. Like, but they were like, we can't guarantee you're going to get paid.
Yeah.
So I was like in this limbo, and like, obviously no one knew what was going to go on in the world. So like, my mom was freaking out. Like, it was a bit weird because I'm on the other side of the world, and people are like saying this is the plague, like, everyone's going to die, COVID's going to kill everyone, which inevitably it didn't. We're here now, we're here sat next to each other, but at the time that's what we thought. So I was at this high, like, they're telling me, like, you're going to do like a session or two with the NRL at the start of the week, you're going to drop into 20s, like, life's great. I'm living in this big house in the middle of the summer with a pool. I was like, oh my God, this is unreal. And within 3 weeks of that happening, I'm on a plane back to Ireland. So I drove from Canberra to Sydney. I got like a little swap off at the ACT to New South Wales border, because you couldn't cross borders in COVID. It was weird. Like, it was weird. I'm in Sydney Airport. All the flights are cancelled. I've gone to Bunnings. I have these big gardener gloves on. You know, like the big gardener gloves, and a big a big sanding mask on. So I'm in Sydney Airport looking at this board. All these flights are cancelled. Yeah. Life's hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I'm getting humbled. I'm back at home. I'm back living with the mother, like, in my little single bed. Yeah. I've just gone from living with all the boys, having the crack. I'm now back in Ireland, and then within a few weeks of that, I'm washing windows in COVID. So I'm literally cleaning windows and gutters, like, just window washing up and down the ladder, washing windows. Like, I wasn't at Huddersfield, I wasn't at Canberra. I was in this limbo space, and I was like just working, cleaning gutters, cleaning windows, power washing, and I was like, my life was here. Yeah, like, I was in like an NRL setup, and now like I was literally back playing like amateur rugby league in Ireland. There was 4 teams in the competition, or 6 teams in the competition that year. Yeah, like the competition was 3 games. Yeah. I was playing amateur, I was playing Gaelic football, I was playing hurling, and I was just looking in the mirror like, what has happened?
It's polar opposite.
You don't know what's going on. But anyways, so you're in that boat as well. Yeah, you've just finished your 16-week trial, and you're probably thinking, like, you've played an NRL trial, you're thinking, what is going on here? Yeah. So what's going through your head?
Literally, that's probably the lowest I've been in life, to be fair. Like, I was like the biggest drop from being up here to here. Like, you don't realize it until you're in that situation. Like, I'd always think to myself, like, it can't be that bad until you're in it. You don't realize how bad it can get. So I was there. I was sort of calling with my parents. I was like, not in a good way. Like, I was barely working at the time too. I had the shifts at a school, obviously doing the LSA work, but I was barely getting any shifts. I was just sitting at home all day. I'd go to 20s training. At this point, I'm too old to play 20s. Like, I'm 21. I was too old to play 20s, so I'm training against a bunch of kids I won't even play with. Like, I can't even play with them. And then I'd play cup on the weekend. So my cup round 1, I played like, I would say 40 minutes, good 40 minutes, and then it just sort of slowly drop off until I was playing 10 minutes off the bench in a blowout sort of thing. And it was a bit of a read the room moment, just sort of like, obviously I'm probably not going to be in their future plans. So I was sort of calling my parents and just seeing if there's anything I can do to just change the situation I'm in. And At that point, it was only probably Q Cup contracts. Like this was start of the year. All spots have been filled. All spots have been filled. Ricky Stewart was really good in trying to talk to opposition coaches and trying to get me somewhere. But obviously, everywhere was full. All top 30s were full. So at that point, I didn't really want to go to a Q Cup. Like I wanted to live full time, like play full time, train full time. I didn't want to go back to having a normal job. So the only thing that was coming up was Q Cup contracts, which obviously you have to work as well. And then at that point, I was like, oh my, there was an NFL program. I'm a big NFL fan, a massive NFL fan. So there was an international program, and I was dead set, like thinking I could give this NFL program a crack because I had no other option. I didn't want to do anything else. And then it was literally a Monday going into the week, and there was a bit of talk of some Super League teams being interested, and then I just didn't worry about anything until it was obviously something final had come in, and then. A few days later, it was the Thursday. I was still getting ready to play that week. Like I was still getting ready to training throughout the week, and then they'd come through that Salford were interested and had sent something through. And then, like obviously, I looked at it. I wasn't even too familiar with Salford or any Super League teams back home because obviously they're on at random times, like 3 a.m. and stuff. There's not much coverage on it. But I was like looked at the deal and the opportunity and sort of weighed up the pros and cons, and it didn't really take much thinking. And I'm just like, yeah, let's do it. Like. I've already done this before in terms of moving to Canberra in short notice. I can do this. And then my parents flew down that day from Bedezit. They flew down, packed all my stuff up from Canberra, drove that all home. We flew home. My grandparents came down as well with their big car and trailer and packed all my stuff up. They drove home. My uncle came to get my car. He drove that home. This was all in a day. And then I said goodbye to everyone that night. It was a Saturday at that point. So they all played their game, and then I was in the sheds with the boys, and we were some of the tightest group like I'd have for 4 years with them boys. It was massive. So it's pretty emotional in the sheds saying goodbye to everyone, and then flew back that day, and then literally I flew to England on Monday. So it was sick. Mental,
wild. The roller coaster goes on. The rugby league roller coaster goes on.
Yeah.
Was that your first time leaving Australia?
Yeah, I went to America when I was 12, but yeah, first time flying like by myself, a big flight by myself, moving away by myself. I'm really close to my family, so that was probably a hard one as well. Probably first time being so far away from them. Yeah.
Tough goodbye, the tough one to say goodbye. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it always is. Yeah.
It always is. So you land in Manchester.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind when you land in Manchester? It's a bit different to home, a bit different to Canberra, it's a bit different to everything, isn't it?
Oh, it's like you hear of England never like stop raining, and like it can't be that like it has to stop raining. Like it can't be true. Like there has to be times where it stops raining. So I came mid-year last year, obviously during the summertime, and I landed, and it was exactly like today. Obviously not as cold, but rainy, windy, overcast, and I'm like, this is not the middle of summer. Like what am I doing? But yeah, I landed straight away. I didn't sleep on the plane. I can't sleep on planes, so I was like jet lagged. I went in and did all my media shots. And if you see my media from last year, I'm just like just in a different world, like jet lagged.
The jet lag's brutal. It's brutal. So, it's proper bad. Yeah. It's proper bad. And what's the reception like at Salford? Like, what kind of transition is that from you being like, obviously you were training with Canberra in a full time environment, but like. Yep. It's different, isn't it? When you come into a Super League environment, I feel like as a young kid in an NRL system, like it's like there's a conveyor belt of young kids coming through. Yeah. But you come over to Salford, and like there's a realistic chance of you like playing some Super League. So it's a bit of a different, and especially being Australian, I feel like when someone from Australia comes over, like there's a bit of an expectation, a bit of a pressure, like. Of them to perform, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though like you hadn't necessarily had any NRL games, it's just there's an assumption. Yeah. If you're Australian, you come over to Super League, like you're here to have an impact on this team. Did you feel that kind of pressure?
A little bit. Obviously, at that point they were low and middles. They had a few injuries in the middle, and I knew that. That was obviously why I took up the deal too. Like having the opportunity to play some game time in the Super League is a step up from New South Wales Cup, what I was doing, like a few minutes off the bench. So just the opportunity of showing myself what I could do as well was why I took it. But yeah, I think obviously I didn't have a name to myself back home. I was playing just a bloke, playing a few reserve grade games and whatnot. So I don't think there was too much expectations in terms of Super League and Salford fans and what they were getting. But the first game, I think I played that week. I got there against Warrington. It was Warrington away, massive game. And I remember running out like through the week. It was mental because like at Raiders they got like a $20 million setup. It's like top class, everything. And then Salford facilities are a little bit different. Like obviously the pitches over here aren't as well kept, aren't as nice with all the rain and whatnot. So that was a bit of an eye opener. But at the same time, I was like, yeah, this suits me. Like it was like our gym's a bit of a dungeon. I'm like, I've been doing this since I was a kid. Like this is my environment. Like,
is it still at Sale?
Yeah. So the
little like concrete bit on the
little concrete dungeon bit. But I'm like, yeah, this suits me. Like just tough grafters, like hard work. Like this is like I'm gonna enjoy this. And like the group of boys we have is like they welcome me so well. I loved it from day one.
So you settled in well straight away at Salford.
Yeah.
Did you? Do you feel like you're finding it more homely now?
Yeah.
You've been here a little while. Second season now.
Yeah. Going into my second year, 100% getting more comfortable with everyone. Obviously, starting to spend more time outside of footy with some of the boys as well, some of the younger boys. So everything's getting closer. Obviously, you have more chats with the staff, and like everything just becomes more comfortable. Yeah.
And what was it like running out for the first time? I suppose at home for Salford, because like obviously you made your debut away at Warrington. But what was the first time like running out at home, getting to experience that Super League atmosphere?
It's mental. Like I heard about the fans back home, but like I didn't obviously understand it until even that first game away. It was like I think it was over 12,000 packed stadium, and like I'll forever have that image just ingrained in my head of running out and just seeing like the crowd, hearing the chants, and I'll just like the smile on my face. I'm like, holy shit, this is the best thing ever. Like I can enjoy this. And then that home game as well. It was a bit of a weird one because it was St. Helens. Obviously, the boys beat them earlier in the year at their home, so this was a chance to do the double on them. So it was another big day, another big game, and then I was coming off the bench, and then we had Timmy Laffs do his hemi in the warm-up. So at the end of the warm-up, Rolls goes to me like, you'll be starting, we're going to move. I think it was Stoney to centre, Shane to back row, and I was just like, holy crap, like 3 weeks ago I was playing 5 minutes, 10 minutes off the bench for Canberra and Cup, and now I'm starting against St. Helens, like one of the biggest games of the year, like at front row. This is like mental. And like usually as a young kid I would be shitting bricks, but like now I'm just like you couldn't wipe the smile off my face. Like I was so excited. It
comes at you quick, doesn't it? It comes at you quick, and I think your confidence builds from knowing that you've done the work, I suppose. Knowing that you've built your foundation on that hard work, on those long nights in the gym. That's where your confidence comes from, doesn't it? And obviously you've stacked some Super League games now. You have them behind you as well, and you're probably going into this season with a bit more excitement, like a bit less nervy again, and a bit more sure of yourself. You know, obviously those first few weeks, like you go from literally thinking, what am I doing here? Why am I like? You're too old. You're training with the under-20s. Like probably just scraping at an opportunity, waiting for something to come. You're thinking all the doors are starting to shut in your face again, and then suddenly, like the rugby league roller coaster goes on. Oh, you end up in England playing in the Super League. You're starting against St. Helens. Like it comes at you quick. But again, what I always say to people, and what I'm a big believer in, is if an opportunity comes to you, it's only an opportunity if you create the window or create the space to take it. Do you know what I mean? If you hadn't done the work or you didn't come prepared, like you wouldn't have been able to take that opportunity. You would have come here, you would have been unfit, you would have been not big enough, not strong enough, and then you can't like capitalize on the opportunity had you not done the work. So every opportunity that comes, or lucky break as some people may call it, is a result of like endless hours of hard work that nobody's ever seen, so that when you get it, you can grab it with two hands. Like when I got a trial at Huddersfield Academy, I was 17 years old. I was finishing my exams in Ireland. Like every door was shut in my face. I was thinking, how can I make it pro at sport? I didn't know what I was going to do. And then literally like a week before I started my exams, they were like, we want you to come over on a trial. I flew out, I finished my exam 3 days later. I was on a plane to England, or the next day or whatever it was, a couple of days later, I think 3 days later. But the only reason that I was able to capitalise on that opportunity is because when I had nothing, I didn't give up. I didn't give up, and I didn't stop believing. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that nobody sees. That's winning in the weeds. That's the dark days that when you have nothing. Because it's easy to get up and train with a smile on your face when you have a full-time contract and you're literally living your dream. Your dream is you're waking up and you go to train, and that's exactly what you dreamt of doing. They're the easy wins. You know, especially when your team's winning or you're playing decent footy. Like they're the days that are easy. The days that are harder when you're injured or when nobody when nobody has your back, or when sometimes you don't even know if you have your own back, because you don't know the path that you're about to go walking
100%,
on.
yeah.
So that's the when you can capitalize on that because of the work that you did.
Yeah, 100%. Even like before I came here, it was me and my mates, a few of my mates, we were all sort of in the same boat. We weren't like getting time and stuff, and we were literally like saying to ourselves, like, are we shit? Like, is there something we're not seeing? Like, are we actually like shit at this sport? But yeah, it's that belief in yourself to know that, like, I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason. So even if you're looking back, like if I didn't get dropped from that 16-week preseason, I wouldn't have been looking for other opportunities, hence then the Salford deal coming through, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason, and if you put that hard work in, there's no real luck to it. You know, the opportunities arise if you put that hard work into it. But yeah, it's that belief in continuing to grind when nothing's there. It's massive, yeah.
For sure. You make your own look. You grab the opportunity when it presents itself, and you grab it with both hands, mate.
Yeah.
That's unreal, and that sort of takes us up to present day moment where you've become would you call yourself a cult hero? Are you the self-proclaimed hitman? Or?
Yeah, not really. It was I probably got that name when I was about 15, 16. I started to put some decent shots on that age, and then I was with the boys in party chat on PlayStation, and I'm like, I want to change my username. What should I change? And then we went through it, and we decided the name Hitman Logs, and I was like, yeah, that's good. That like, because when you're a kid playing games, you want your username to look clean. Like I had I think it was a name with all random numbers and stuff, but when you're a kid, you want like your username on PlayStation to look just like a nice, minimalistic, clean username. So I'm like, yeah, we'll go with that one. And then it sort of started to catch on the more and more I played, and then at Canberra, it really sort of like I put some more good shots on it. It really started to stick, like Hitman or Hitter or something like that. So that's my nickname these days. It's stuck pretty well. So it's semi self claimed, but it's also from what I've done on the pitch as well.
Okay, so there's a bit of back into it. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
That's savage. That's savage. So that, like, obviously you stream a lot. You document your life on social media. What has that been like within your teammates, and then as an individual? Like I do it a lot. Yeah. I share my story. I'm very open on my YouTube channel. I enjoy sharing the journey because I know there's kids like myself and yourself who probably were sat in front. Like I was probably Googling like how to make it pro at rugby or like rugby tips and tricks. I was literally putting that into the search bar when I was 16.
Yeah.
You know, like supplements for rugby, and that so I try and make content for my younger self.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I think this platform's massive for, is that someone might be from where you're from, going through something the exact same as you, like could literally be working at Woolies, like it could be that similar. It could be someone like myself who were literally working at McDonald's who want to make it pro at rugby, and that's what I want this platform to be. And I want people to share the journey, and also not to be condescending or rude, but like to give you an opportunity to tell people your journey as well, because I didn't know personally. I didn't know how you ended up here. Like I knew of you because of mutual friends, but I didn't know your story of how you got here. And there's plenty of other athletes who haven't got here. But yeah, tell us a little bit about your platform, and I suppose what your mission is with that. And
yeah, obviously, I've started making a few more vlogs and IRL stuff, so moving into that more rugby league world. But yeah, I mainly started the vlogs to sort of something to sort of look back on when I'm done with everything, and then sort of show my friends and family that aren't as familiar with the life over here, the Super League life, and that can't keep up with me as much back home. So that's probably why I mainly watch my videos. My mum and my sister, they can't travel, so I won't see them over here, but that's like something that they can watch and sort of tune into every couple of weeks to get a bit of a catch up with what I'm doing. But I mainly make that, and then obviously for all the fans that want behind the scenes. I know Salford's a pretty wild place, so we got a lot of characters in our team, which is brilliant. You've seen obviously Nene McDonald's vlogs; he's really good with them. But yeah, just sort of documenting life over here, I guess, to show for people and people back home, sort of thing.
Class. And who's your closest teammates at the minute? Who's the crew?
It's weird. I get asked this on stream, but I would literally I could sit with anyone on my team for hours on end, sort of thing. Like everyone's just such a good group of boys, so close. But I probably magnitude towards the younger boys. You got I live with Kai Morgan. You got your Harvey Wilsons, Pi, Foz. I'm real close with Nene. Obviously, he's about almost 30 now, but he's pretty much a kid, like a big kid. So he's one of my close mates as well. But I could literally, like, it's a group that you could literally sit for hours with anyone in that team and be confident in talking to.
Do you think it brings you a little bit of confidence seeing someone like Nene do what he does and put himself out there as well? Because, like, I feel like that'd be when you're starting on a content journey, or you start putting yourself out there, making YouTubes, going live and doing things like that. It's nice to see someone a little bit older who's into it as well, and like, you go, well, if he can do it, then like I can do it. You know what I mean? He's an OG. He's a legend of the game.
Yeah, 100%. Like, he's a really confident dude as well. Like, his vlogs are great because he has that confidence, because he's not afraid to talk on camera in front of everyone, like walking down the street and sort of face it around like that, interview people, like, and I'm like, that is good to watch because he's confident. So that definitely, like, you sort of learn tips off those sort of people that do have that experience and stuff, and makes me more confident and more keen to make ideas. Like, even now we'll sort day trips to make content together and talk about what we can do differently in that. So it definitely makes it easy, yeah.
Oh, for sure. And where do you see this 2025 year going for yourself? What's the direction? What's the goals? What's the ambitions ahead of the year? We're in content, we're in what you're doing away from rugby, but we're in rugby as well.
Away from rugby, just continuing to film my journey, just try and get as much content out as possible. I'm not too fussed on what sort of content it is, but just show everyone my lifestyle, my story, and that. And then on the field, I'm pretty excited for this year. Obviously, I had a taste of it last year. I think I played 11 games and had a real good taste. But I'm keen to get a big year in this year. And personally, I feel like I can go pretty well in terms of the rest of the league. Yeah.
Do you feel like it's been a good pre-season?
Yeah, it's definitely been a different pre-season. I'm not used to a cold pre-season, especially with the snow and whatnot. But yeah, it's been a really good pre-season. Yeah,
couple snow days thrown in there, like.
Oh, bro, that's the first time I've seen snow out in the open. So I've been loving it. To be fair, the first day when it was snowing, I called everyone back home. I'm like, look at this, it's snowing outside my window and stuff, like throwing snowballs and stuff. But
never seen anything like it.
Nah, never. Like, I went to the snow when I was young up in Canberra. Obviously, that was when I was real young, but I hadn't seen it just out and about. Just everyday life, snow and stuff. So it was absolutely mental, but I can see why people get sick of it after a while.
Yeah, it gets a bit. You get over it in about one day, I reckon. One day's nice, nice. Yeah. If it happens on a Sunday, you're off training, chill day, it's all good. And then Monday comes around, you can't drive your car, and you're thinking, oh my god,
got icy windows.
Yeah, you don't need it at all. I got my car stuck on on a big pile of grass outside one of the boys' gaffs, and he was like, its neighbours were fuming. Like, I was cutting up all his grass, butchering the place up, and it just was not ideal at all. It's freezing cold to train, and it's not to be a whinge bag, but it's not the best, is it?
Especially when you're doing an outside job, it gets pretty tough. It's alright if you're in a air-conned office and stuff, but when you're training outside too, it makes it worse.
It's not the nicest, is it? It's not the nicest at all. Obviously, we're sat here now in Height Wellbeing, Heights Wellness Centre. It's a place of wellness. Your first time here?
Yep.
Your first time here. But I suppose with the place that we're here now, it's all about, I suppose, mental well-being, physical well-being, getting yourself into a good place.
Yeah.
But what does wellness mean to you?
It's probably just obviously being happy, being content with what you have. I feel like as a person, I'm really content with my life that I have at the moment. Never asking for anything more than what I have now, but obviously routine is a big thing in terms of getting your head in the right spot, having that constant routine. Even on like days off, I'll still try and get up early and go to the gym or something, just to keep that routine going and get up early, so you're not laying in bed all day and slacking around. So yeah, it's a big thing of routine, and I've got a lot of sort of things I need to check off my list throughout the day.
What's that list look like then? What does a content list of the hitman look like?
So I'll wake up, if it's an off day, I'll wake up probably 6-ish. I'll go to the gym with Kai. We'll probably go around 6:30, 7, get that out the way, and then come back. We'll just do like an arm session or something, get a bit bigger, just a nice one, and then come back. I'll go downstairs to my cafe, get a coffee, come back up, make some breakfast. If it's a training day, I won't have too much to eat. I'll have 2 bits of toast with peanut butter, and then we got like breakfast shakes at training. So I'll have that, and then my coffee is obviously something I look forward to in the mornings. It gives me almost a goal to get to.
Can you please tell everyone who's watching what your order was? Because I picked this man up. Obviously, we've only just met. I picked this man up a coffee before we sat down, and I was slightly shook by the order. I won't lie.
Yeah. Well, I actually gave you a simplified version of it. Normally, I go larger cap extra shot, which ends up being 4 shots, and then the server's always like, "You sure you want 4 shots?" I'm like, "Yeah, give me 4 shots." But it's more, I love the taste of it. Like, I know people love the caffeine, but I just love the taste of good coffee. So I always get that extra taste of coffee. But yeah, I know oat milk specifically, I do that because I'm not like lactose intolerant or anything. I just feel like oat milk goes nicer with the coffee, sort of really, yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, I know. I'm a bit of a coffee connoisseur, if you'd like to add. But yeah, so that is my go-to order.
So you've smacked your breakfast. You've got your blend in. You know, we're loving the blends.
Yeah.
I don't know about the choice of blend, but anyways, like continue. So we're on the off day. Fill us in then. What else is going on?
Other than that, if I'm not going out on a day trip, I like to do a lot of traveling with a few of the boys. Obviously, the ones that aren't from here will go out to just random spots around and enjoy a day trip. But if not, it's a pretty chill day for me. Obviously, I'll try and if I got like a YouTube video planned, I'll try and do steps towards making that video, and then I usually stream it at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So I'll probably get ready for that. If I have to do anything content-wise, I'll do that throughout the day on the off day. But it's normally pretty chill if I'm not out traveling. So I'll just stay chilled, watch YouTube, play games. Obviously, I'm a big gamer, so play games, and then just that's probably why I'm so content. Obviously I don't have anything to worry about in terms of outside of footy at the moment. So that's probably a big thing and why I'm content as well at the moment.
Is that what? Like, does life feel simple at the minute?
Yeah, 100%.
Does it feel like the mind's at rest?
Yeah.
How many years you got left here?
Just contracted for this year at the moment, but I'll play this year and see what options there are.
See what happens from there. Have you got any travel goals for the year ahead?
Yeah, I want to each bye week or each sort of time we get time off. I want to travel to a different country each week. So that's one of my. I want to go to Switzerland. My grandparents are coming over mid-year, and I think we're going to go to Switzerland, and that's my dream spot to go to. So your
dream?
Yeah.
What made Switzerland?
I don't know. I just like the Swiss Alps. Like, I'm a big fan of how the Swiss Alps look. They're just sort of the vibe. It's especially like it's sort of like the cozy. I'm a big fan of like the cozy sort of cottages and wooden sort of fireplaces. That sort of vibe. You know what I mean? So that's my retirement plan too. My mum's not a fan of it, but I want to retire in the Swiss Alps in a wooden cabin by myself with a
really strong Wi-Fi connection and a PS7 or something, PS or Xbox.
Yeah, on PlayStation. But, I might have to retire the games at that point. I don't know if we'll get Wi-Fi out there, but I just want to live away.
Live away.
Yeah.
Is that becoming content?
Yeah, I reckon that's a pretty peaceful life. I don't know how I'd deal with living off the ground and stuff. I'm not the best with tools, but yeah, that sounds like a pretty good life to me.
Loghan Lewis, that was a serious message. Thank you, my man.
No worries.